Please rise to salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning and welcome to RPtv. Today is Wednesday, December 1st, 2021. Our top story this morning certainly reflects the world that we currently live in. It has been determined that the most popular word used in 2021 is none other than vaccine. Damien has that report.
According to Merriam-Webster, the word of this year is vaccine. Its usage has gone up by 601% since the first U.S. vaccine was administered. Peter Sokolowski, Merriam-Webster's editor-at-large, told the Associated Press, ahead of Monday's announcement, this was a word that was extremely high in our data every single day in 2021. Merriam-Webster added to its definition of vaccines to cover all the talk of mRNA vaccines or messenger vaccines such as those for COVID-19 developed by Pfizer, BioNTech, and Moderna. Peter Sokolowski continued by stating, it really represents two different stories. One is this science story, which is the remarkable speed with which the vaccines were developed, but there's also the debates regarding policy, politics, and political affiliation. It's one word that carries these two huge stories. Some of the runner-ups words this year were insurrection, infrastructure, perseverance, and nomad. Instead of using a committee to choose the word of the year, Merriam-Webster uses statistics and monitors the search history of the words.
Earlier in the week, Governor Phil Murphy expressed some concerns about New Jersey's safety regarding the possible spread of the Omicron variant through Newark Liberty Airport. Cooper has that story.
Governor Phil Murphy comments on the heels of the new Omicron variant increasingly being detected around the world. There is a concern. I'm actually speaking to the White House at 5:30 p.m., Murphy said during his regular COVID-19 briefing. That's something that we're watching very closely, he said, referring to the possibility of future travel bans. This is clearly a time when you want to be mindful of where you're going, and you've got to be mindful of what your movements are these days. Murphy noted on how the Omicron virus variant has already been detected in Canada and said he'd be stunned if undetected cases weren't already in the U.S. The reality is that as our region is a hub for international travel and commerce, we must be ready now in anticipation for this variant hitting us, he said, stressing more needs to be known about the variant. New Jersey labs received and test around 1,200 positive COVID-19 tests each week to look for new variants. State Department of Health Commissioner Judy, I don't know how to pronounce that, said, people traveling internationally into the U.S. are required to get a COVID-19 test regardless of vaccination status and show negative test results while boarding the airplane, according to the CDC. The test must be conducted no more than 3 days before the flight's departure from a foreign country if someone is fully vaccinated, and a negative test sample for unvaccinated people no more than a day before departure.
And now it's time for announcements. Art Club and NAHS will meet every Friday starting this week in the Art Room 102. Join us for creating art and hanging out with friends. Newspaper Club will meet this Thursday, December 2nd, in Room 2 at 2:50 p.m. If you have not yet submitted your draft, please do so ASAP. The RPHS Theater Department is pleased to announce that the 2022 RPHS Spring Musical will be Roald Dahl's Willy Wonka. Auditions for the musical will be held December 7th and December 8th at 6 p.m. Sign-up sheets and audition packets are located in the high school main office. All students that wish to audition must sign up, fill out an audition packet, and bring the packet to the auditorium and audition. Please see Mr. Witowski and Mr. Williamson and Mrs. Dombrowski or Mrs. Arango with any questions or emails. Musical Director Doug Panetta at dpanetta@rpsd.org. If you are looking for some fun and knowledge, check out the French Club. Upcoming meetings are scheduled for December 9th and December 16th. The time is 2:45 to 3:45, and the place is room 3.
Knowing tips about fire safety can not only prevent a fire from occurring, but it can also save lives. Here are some tips for fire safety. Make sure you have fire alarms set up in your house, inside of bedrooms and sleeping areas. Test the alarms monthly. Talk with your family about a fire escape plan and practice this plan twice a year. If a fire were to occur at home, get out of the place as soon as possible and call 911 immediately.
Just when it looked like the Giants were going to turn their season around, they may have to play their next game without their starting quarterback. Let's go back to Damien for the details.
A person who is familiar with the situation has told the press that Giants quarterback Daniel Jones' status for Sunday's game is uncertain due to a neck injury. They anonymously spoke on Tuesday since the Giants did not release an injury report. Jones' name should be on that report on Wednesday. Coach Joe Judge is scheduled to talk reporters. This season, Jones has stated every game he was 19 for 202 yards and a touchdown against the Eagles in a 13-7 win on Sunday. He played every offensive snap against Philly and did not show any sign of injury on any of the plays. Jones was a number 6 pick overall and is currently having his best season. Jones running some plays led him to take a few big hits because he does not slide often. If he is unable to play, veteran Mike Glennon would start on Sunday's game against the Miami Dolphins.
Stay tuned, we will be right back. Thanks for watching, have a great day, and make sure to stay tuned for CNN 10.
Welcome to the last month of the year and its very first edition of our show. I'm Carl Azus. Thank you for watching. Headlining today's program, the World Health Organization, part of the United Nations, is telling governments to stay calm and take, quote, rational measures to guard against a new variant of COVID. Officials named it Omicron last week. It's the latest of several mutations the virus has had around the world. Omicron was first identified in South Africa and neighboring Botswana. It's now been seen in at least 15 other countries. Though early indications are that it may be less severe than other forms of COVID, Omicron has a lot of mutations or differences from other types. But there are also differences in how doctors could fight it. New coronavirus pills are being reviewed for their effectiveness. Antibody treatments have helped COVID patients. The Biden administration is telling more Americans to get vaccinated, saying that's the key to stopping the Omicron variant. But researchers say it's not known yet whether vaccines or the other treatments available will be effective at fighting Omicron. They predict it'll likely be 2 to 3 weeks before vaccine effectiveness is known.
This is a 3D animation of the spike protein, and all those different colors on there represent these different mutations, and that's what scientists sort of look at, trying to figure out what are these mutations, have we seen them before? Some of them they have seen before. Some of the mutations have been associated with higher transmissibility. Some have been associated with being a little bit harder to detect by antibodies, so maybe some escape of immunity. But we don't know what it all means when you bring it all together. There's a lot that we still don't know about this new variant, and that's what they're going to be figuring out over the next couple of weeks. How transmissible is it? How sick does it really make people? Do current vaccines work against it? Again, that's obviously a big question. And how about the risk of reinfection? If you've been infected with one of the previous variants, how well does that immunity, that infection-acquired immunity, protect you against this?
Another story making headlines. The CEO of the social media company Twitter has left his job. Jack Dorsey co-founded the company in 2006 and worked as its CEO until he was forced out of that role in 2008. He returned to the position in 2015 to help improve Twitter's business. And Dorsey announced this week that he decided to leave because he believes Twitter's ready to move on from its founders. Dorsey also leads another company, an online payments provider named Square. During his tenure at Twitter, Dorsey faced challenges and criticism over the content the company allowed and banned. Twitter's chief technology officer, Parag Agrawal, has taken over as CEO. Finally, in our tour of today's headlines, the 2021 Atlantic hurricane season has come to an end. It officially runs from June 1st through November 30th, though it's still possible for storms to form outside of that period. The final numbers for this season: 21 named storms, 7 hurricanes, 4 major hurricanes that reached Category 3 strength or higher. For perspective, 2020's record-breaking hurricane season saw 30 named storms, 14 hurricanes, and 7 major hurricanes. One curious characteristic about this year was that even though it was active at the start, things quieted down suddenly in September. Storms just weren't forming at the rate they did before. But officials say even though there were fewer hurricanes than last year, they still caused $20 billion more in damage, largely because of Hurricane Ida. After it made landfall in Louisiana in August, the system traveled across the eastern U.S. and up to the Northeast, where it brought tremendous amounts of rain and flooding. 10-second trivia. In what year was the term Cyber Monday first used? 1985, 1995, 2005, or 2010? The National Retail Federation used the term in 2005 in reference to a spike in online shopping 4 days after Thanksgiving. Hanukkah is going on right now. Christmas is less than 4 weeks away, and America's online retail sales this year at this time are not what they've been in the past. Consumers spent $8.9 billion online during Black Friday 2021. It was $9 billion last year. They spent $10.7 billion on Cyber Monday 2021. It was $10.8 billion last year. So about $100 million less on each day. This is according to marketing data company Adobe Analytics, and it's the first time it's recorded a decrease in online sales on those 2 days. But Adobe still expects online spending to break records this year because Americans have been spreading it out over a longer period of time.
The holidays are here, and you need to buy a gift at the last minute. That might be a mistake this year, though, with all the supply chain and shipping issues.
Over 2 billion times. That's how often the words out of stock came up as researchers tracked just 18 different product categories online in October.
I think the problem in retail at the moment is there's just difficulties at every stage of the supply chain. So there are difficulties in manufacturing overseas because factories are closed because of COVID. There are obviously difficulties shipping because there aren't enough containers and the containers are in the wrong place. There are difficulties getting ships into port and unloaded once they get to the United States.
It will be smarter for you to go to the store and pick something up quickly than ordering something 2 days in advance and risking that your package doesn't show up in time.
We're starting to see a larger percentage of people buying online and going to the store, and we're also trying to drive more traffic to the store. The frustration level is lower when you go to mortar and brick, particularly when inventory is limited. When there's lots of inventory, what do a lot of people do online? I'm going to buy a size 34 and a size 36, and I might buy 2 colors, and I'll return the ones that I don't want. But what if your size just isn't there and your color's not there? So you don't get that option. Whereas in a store, you know it fits, and you have these alternatives.
Retailers like Kohl's are so eager to have you buy online, pick up in store, that they're offering $5 off if you do so.
So actually you can get some incremental sales from customers as well by getting them to come into stores. They might buy other things because they have a browse around and they end up putting other things in the basket or the cart. So all around, it's just a very positive thing financially for a retailer to do.
If you buy something online, you're much likelier to return it than if you buy it in a store.
Between pure store buying and online buying, there is a very big difference from return rates. Because when people go to the store, they will touch, they will feel the product, they will try it on, they generally buy the right size, and they know it's kind of the right product for them before they buy it. So the decision is almost final.
If you want to buy something, buy it now, don't wait, and risk it being out of stock later in the season.
I think the main piece of advice is to shop early, whether it be in store or online. Get the products you want early, especially if you are shopping online, because as well as there being a lack of availability of products, there's also likely to be a shipping crunch as we get closer to the holidays. There may not be enough capacity to deliver.
You should buy now. You should buy as soon as possible. I don't know that you're going to A, get the item that you want, or B, that you're going to see deeper discounts than you're seeing right now. We don't do a lot of discounts when we don't have enough inventory.
Christmas Island, Santa's Magic Sleigh, Dominic the Donkey, and Santa Claus's Party. These are some of the lesser-known Christmas songs that didn't seem to catch on like White Christmas. Will the tradition of Woody the Talking Christmas Tree catch on at a mall in eastern Canada?
It's a talking Christmas tree that's being talked about.
I'm so glad to be back home.
Talked about by everyone from little kids.
I never talked to one before.
After a 15-year hiatus, Woody the Talking Tree is back at the Micmac Mall in Nova Scotia, Canada, depicted as the Nightmare Before Christmas by one cartoonist. Kill it with fire, someone tweeted. Woody's very own Twitter account describes him as a chatty coniferous with a penchant for small talk in malls. There's something about kids talking to Woody reminiscent of Dorothy talking to the Wizard of Oz.
Do not arouse the wrath of the great and powerful Oz.
Woody got a makeover from this to this after an absence of 15 years, the mall manager says.
Woody was in the North Pole.
Actually, the mall changed management. Now Woody is inspiring kitty sketches, embroidery, tree ornaments, even fingernail art. Woody is the Wizard of Oz, easy to needle. Jeannie Mose, CNN, New York.
Some will ask if it's for real if they can't believe their eyes. Supporters might call it noble or grand and say it spruces up the mall. Critics might say it's a pine to look at and should be put back in the freezer. In short, Woody will be sure to balsam over while others will be cypressed to run the other way. But hey, tree's the season. John A. Ferguson Senior High School, thank you for watching from Miami, Florida. Let's go Falcons. I'm Coral Azus, and that's CNN.